예, 안녕하십니까. 바이오 플러스 인터팩스 코리아
So good
2022
afternoon.
IT 강국에서 BT 강국으로 세션 자제할
We will now begin the session from
먼저
Bio
인사드리겠습니다.
Convergence
오늘 사실
IT
이렇게
powerhouse
그
to
더운
PT
여름에
powerhouse, and I am the moderator of this
여러
session.
전문가분들 모시고
Very nice to see you all, and I'm honored to be a session leader
그
of
오늘
this
사실은
bioconvergence
진행은 아마 저희
session
KT뿐만
where
아니라
many experts are
그다음에
present,
네이버,
not just the
사실은
KT,
IT를
which is my
하는
company,
네,
but
굵직히
also
하고
many
있습니다.
other
물론
large corporations
SKT랑
working on the
BIOPLUS
bioconvergence are here today.
다음에
Now, I
이렇게 다
really
모이는
hope that
적이 있으면
the
되게
convergence
좋을 것
can be
같습니다.
also be
먼저
here. Next
제가
time, I would like to have
오늘은
more
그
companies
KT에서
invited
하고
here.
있는
So
일부터
today we have the
시작을
KT
해서
and Kakao
진행을 하도록
Healthcare
하고요.
and Naver.
그다음에 이제
And we can expect more. So today I'm going to start my presentation to be followed by Kakao Healthcare and then Naver. And we will also end the session with the panel discussion.
오늘 제가 발표드린
Today, what I
내용은
prepared
사실은 여러 가지 고민을 하다가
is
KT가 뭘
like
하고
this.
있는지
I've been
한번
thinking a
아마
lot what to
기사에서도
tell you
많이
about
보시긴
this, but I can
하셨을
start
텐데요.
with
조금
what
더
KT is
구체적으로
doing.
말씀을
Probably you have
드리도록
already
하겠습니다. 제목은
known
저희가
through the
The
news
Strategy and
articles.
Future
So this is my
Prospects
topic today,
for
the
Global
strategies
Digital
and future
Healthcare
prospects for
제목을
global
짓고요.
digital
유지는
healthcare.
저희가
So the
KT가
idea
뭘
here
하고
is that
있는지
what
사실
KT
소개를
provides
드리고요.
you,
그다음에
and that
앞으로
will be
미래에
the
어떤
first
모습이
idea I
좀
can share
그려질지
with you. And
고민을
also,
드리는
I'd
걸로
like to talk
세미나를
about what
마치도록
future
하겠습니다.
we are drawing from these
먼저
services.
인트로덕션 좀 말씀드리면
Now
잘
this is
아시는 것처럼
introduction.
제가 키워드를
So
좀
as you
모아봤습니다.
might
저희
understand, we
세션은
have
이제
some keywords
여기 많은
here.
계신 분들이
In this
아마
session,
BT나
most of
바이오,
you
제약
must be
전공하신
in the
분들이 많이
BT
계실
or
거고, 혹은 뭐 IT
biopharmacy
쪽
and
전공하신 분이 계실
IT
텐데
as well.
지금 현재 그 헬스케어 상황들 여러 가지
In the
많이
healthcare
융합이 일어나고
ecology
있습니다.
nowadays, we
아시는
see more
것처럼
and more
디지털
convergence.
테라피틱스,
As you all know, we
그다음에
have
퍼스널 메디신,
genetic
그다음에
convergence,
최근에 나왔던 이런 브레인 컴퓨터 인터페이스,
brain
그다음에 여러 가지 뭐
interface,
디지털
as well as
바이오마커들도 많이
the many
언급이 되고
other
있어서
digital markers that are
근간은
making
저희가
up the
어쨌든
ecology of
데이터로서
our
포함될 수
industry.
있는 이런
So what is important here is their data can be
산업들이
used
늘어나고
to
있다.
link
그럼 여기서 이제
every
우리가
industry
어떻게
sector.
좋은
The question
솔루션을
is how we
찾아내야
can
될지 계속
start
고민을
to
하고
have our good
그래서
solutions.
그럼 우리 KT는 잘 아시는
So what
것처럼
does KT
저희가
do?
오늘
And
설명을 좀
KT
드리면
does
1885년에
something that you're familiar
비엔나
with.
조선시대에
It was
한성에서 이제 전화국 서비스를 한번
1835
시작이
when we
됐고요.
started
그
to have
이후에
the
저희는
telegraph
인공위성도
services
실제
in
제공을
Hansong,
하고
which
있고
is the capital
또
city.
하나는 이제
But now
아마
we
다른
are a
곳에서
country
했지만
of
저희가
having a
글로벌하게
satellite
5G는
in
제일 먼저
orbit.
시작을
And
하게
5G was
됐죠.
first started in
통신
Korea,
인프라와
especially by
인터넷, 그다음에
KT.
여러 가지를
So we do have the
가지고
history
있고요.
of
저희가
all
이제
this
그 잘 아시는
development
전화국
of
시작을
telecommunications.
해서
We
저희가
started
요새
with the
최고
telephone
유명한
office, and we
우영우,
now
구에서
have
지금
the
저희가 열심히 지금 하고 있고요.
palindrome
그래서
services,
이제
the
신사업을
우영우,
저희가
the
크게 8개를
drama.
좀 보고
The drama
있습니다.
is
첫
also
번째는 이제
made by
기본적으로
our
저희는
company.
통신사기 때문에
And
뭐
since
이름은
we
지금
are a
저희가 디지털
communications company, as a
디지코라고
mainstay,
이제 표현을
we
하고
have
있습니다.
a
그래서
new
일반적으로
terminology
네트워크나 이런 와이파이
called
하고 있고,
digico.
또
We do a
말씀드렸던
lot of
우영우,
services
나는 솔로,
like
합천
the
관련 미디어 관련된 부분도 열심히
communications
하고 있고요.
related ones.
그리고
We are also
인공위성
a
해서
provider
여러
of
가지
drama
그
services
광대
like
부분을
우영우
넓히는
and
부분을
I Am
하고
Solo and
또 하나는
others.
아시는 것처럼 아마
And as you also
BC
know, we
카드랑
have the
K뱅크도
BC
저희가
card and
이제
K
계열사로서
Bank
운영을
that
하고
are
있어서
affiliated
그
with
핀테크에서도
us. So
이런
these are
통신과
the
이종
companies,
데이터 연합에 대해서 많은
subsidiaries.
부분을
So we are
하고 있습니다.
working on the digital
그다음은
payment
이제
and other
connectivity,
heterogenetic services. So Genetica is also a indispensable area where all the telecommunications players should be in. Logistics is also another part and arm of our business. As you must have read from the newspaper articles, we are also getting ready for these services as well. Robotics is not an exception. We have care robots and we have logistics robots and delivery robots. So in conclusion, what is the happy life as our ultimate goal? So you want to be healthy in order to be happy. So telemedicine is not excluded from here. So we do have our services for the telemedicine as well. We do have the ABC capabilities. A is AI, B is big data, C is cloud. We're now preparing for having a spin-off for the cloud. First, let's start with the AI. We have our assets, Giga Genie as a speaker, the data form, which is prevalent in the Korean market, and we have the 3,300 GPAs, and we have built infrastructure like this. Secondly, we have 500 experts in the AI, so we have professionals in AI. We also have the AI One team, which is a collaboration unit with many other industry sectors. So B stands for big data, as I said. So as you know very well, we do have the telephone services in the telecom. We have the 58 million subscribers to these telephone services. And we do have the subscription services, which account for more than 10,000. And we have the 10 terabyte services. As for the cloud, C, we have IT center, and mostly they are working on the financial services by 70%. Healthcare, however, is also not excluded. It will be on the rise. As I already explained, the A, B, and C services will be related to the preventive health care as well as the treatment. So I will take some sensitive information out of the data, but I'll be briefly talking about these mainstream stories. The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has been working with us since 2 years ago on the infectious disease and spread prevention systems. The SHINE will be the applications to be used. More than 40,000 users have been acquired for their services. We do have the data collected real time, the real world data out of the participants, more than 50,000. After COVID-19, we were not able to have more people. So after the COVID-19 situation, we now shifted our orientation toward the real cases and real world cases of the patients of COVID-19. We distributed our leaflets on the street as well. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation was a great helper, and also we have the Yo company, which is quite well known to you, is also part of it. So we have the consortium of many organizations and companies like this. Since we're expecting to have the spread of the pandemic situation, our services will be distributed free of charge. So we will do our best. If you have traveled overseas on business, you must have experienced the reservation system for the PCR test. So that reservation system is a work of ours as well. So you can have the reservation and you can go through the processes up until the settlement and payment. This is a public nature project, but we have the 400,000 people as our data. Of course, the personal data has been cleansed and purified, so we do not have the personal data included. As I mentioned, this is a big cause of the infectious disease prevention, and also we have a light fund coming from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. That's for this TTA project. One of the things that we have, the GPS base stations, and here data is combined. So this project is commingled with the Bill and Melinda Gates projects very well. As for the diagnostics, we have two things in a major way. We have the digital biomarkers. First of all, we can have the AI-related video and voice-linked communications. We're not working very hard on the voice yet, but we have a case of the hypothyroidism and thyroidism cancer. So we can have the image of the ultrasonic diagnostics. We can help better diagnostics and treatment of the thyroid cancer. So Mikai was a competition which was held last year, and our team got the first place as a result of the competition. Not just from the AI, we have also the real-world information. So this condition of the hypothyroidism will be expanded further into other diseases later in the future. Now, this is for the elderly people. The elderly people's common condition is the difficulty of swallowing. So when they have the issues of the muscles, then the muscle is too weak to have food swallowed down onto the esophagus. So we have diagnostics to know that they have these symptoms with using the images of the ultrasonic systems. We have the numerical and computational systems to understand if that is a symptom experienced by the elderly person. When they show the data collected from the ultrascanning, then we got the confirmation from the academics, and we presented this result onto the academic conference, and we are collaborating with the Asan Hospital and also the associations of this disease. Now, I can talk about the KT strategies for digital health care. So we do have various types of the services. First one is the electronic services. The other one is the medical services. And this is the digital farm, so to speak. So it's this pharmaceutical product or a medicinal product, but in the digital form. So we have many other players working in here. Hanmi Pharma is one of the companies that has the big expertise in this. You know that there are so many companies in Korea, but the Hallyu Catholic Medical Center is quite well known for its expertise accumulated so far on the digital farm system. Dr. Kim Dae-sin is the leader of the team here, and also KT is involved with them to work on the digital farm. We look forward to having great results coming out of this collaboration, and you may have read the newspaper article again on this project. So this is really an infant stage, but please keep your interest on this. And this next one is not so much well known yet, but this is about the services for the elderly people when they have the difficulties of the auditory systems and the eye vision systems. Dr. Kim Dong-jin is an expert on that, and they are working. He's working on this ADH and hearing health system. And when we have the dysphagia, we have various treatment types. The first one is the third treatment. The other one is also the electronic system to be used. So MCI is the mental disorder status for the elderly people when they have the mild symptom of the cognitive condition. In addition to that, when we have further ingredients inside the pipeline, we are going to have further businesses, and the partners are named underneath of the screen. We will be working with these partners and the academic organizations further to have better results. This is what we are preparing for at the moment. As for the heart failure patients, we have Dr. Choi Young-ju from KSHF, and we have Mr. Kim Yeon-kyu from Novartis working on this. We got a lot of advice from these two people. Then we get the applications to measure the symptoms of these heart disease, heart conditions. The AR and IR is now underway. So by the end of this year or early next year, we're going to have the full delivery of this application. What it does as an application is that for the myocardial patients or heart failure patients, they might have the relapses of the symptoms. When they have the relapse, do they have to walk into the hospital, or do they have to take a ride of the car and vehicles in to get in? How long they can wait, things like that. And also using the AI, they have the food tech, and by coloring, we can get the differentiation of the results. And a chatbot service is also available in here, so that they can have the prevention of relapses and the critical conditions from happening by having conversation with the patients. The next one is also another in Convergence team, which is done with the KAIST as well. There are so many experts in here from the ICGM. We have CGM device, we have medical excellence, and KT is involved in here for the calculation of overall algorithms and the medical services and the pancreatic insulin pumps, and also we have Catholic University involved here. So it is artificial organ, and which is working on mostly with the pancreatic system, and we can have the real-time feedback system. But it's still under POC stage, the proof of concept stage, but we will work hard to get it through to the next level. This might not be familiar to you, but we have this one carried the newspaper as well. So we have a lot of newspaper articles covering. If KT is ready for the digital healthcare in other countries, Vietnam is the first one to start with, maybe. So I have captured all the articles about this, our project. So we have the Vietnam Cancer Center in Hanoi in Vietnam. We can also have the healthcare systems to work on the chronic diseases and cancer patients or post-management of these patients. So we're now trying to make the consolidation with all the partners outside the country. KT used to be a district company. We were not a medical company. Therefore, the Industry Academia Institute collaboration is really important to us. It matters a lot. And in making ecology of healthcare, we should have the good relationship with these medical companies and the hospitals. We have also worked with the Korea Bio and Korea Metaverse Research Institute and KIST and KSHF. On the other hand, we are also working with the medical centers like Seoul Asan Hospital and many other startup companies. So overall, we are making a very solid foundation for the preparation by building a good relationship and making networks with these players. The next one is about the presence of the regulations. We are under regulatory businesses. We have to talk with the government about the policies very continuously. As a part of our ecology, we have to have a good role to play, and also as an early player in telecommunications, we have to lead the whole project in ecology very well. We feel our responsibility. And this is about the open innovation for data-driven healthcare and biotech. We made a new fund created is a new potential, and along with the coding companies, we have the AUM of 20 billion won actually. So the Smart Korea KT Next Investment Associations. We have the smart startup companies. So they were the companies we explored when we were accelerator. And then we have many more startups here than these. We do have internal strategic team to work on the ecology. We are making investment for these companies. We're making the linkage with the rest of the ecology. In summary, I can tell you that, as you know very well, healthcare should be data-driven in the future, and precision medicine or the tailored and customized medicine will be our future. So we have the CRISPR, we have many other genomics and proteomics. These are the ones we have to explore further. So I have the graph to show you. For example, we have omics data. We have many other data, video data, or the EHR coming from the hospitals, and we have financial data as well. As I said, we have my data and health my data. All these data coming from our applications can be combined together in a big container of the knowledge. So overall, we can tell you that we have our life cycle that is happening to us. So starting from the prenatal status, we have the end-of-life situation. In the meantime, we have the many milestones such as the pregnancy and also the birth of babies. We might encounter some diseases, big and small, and also we go through the puberty time and also the young stages of life, and we might be able to get over many of the diseases thanks to the technologies. So this is a deep down to the level of molecular system as well. From start to the end, we have the life cycle-based diseases and the collaborations to overcome these diseases from the top level and to the down level. So not just the AI cloud, KT is very committed to make an ecology and would like to also have a convergence of heterogeneous information and data. And also, we would like to contribute to the ecology by inviting many more players of Korea. So I really look forward to your support and interest continued. Let's then talk about the biotechnology today. So we will focus our efforts on AI instead. So we can be a strategic player here. And maybe we can share the infrastructure for the GPU, and also we can have more projects that are relevant to us. KT is really open-minded. KT used to be a public company, so your mindset about KT is that KT is quite closed. It's not true. We are not a public company anymore. We're a private company. We're very active. So I hope you can be.
자석 정리가 빨리 됐습니다. 그래서 오늘 아주 힘들게 모신 저희
So our stage is now ready. We have Mr. Hwang Hee, CEO of Kakao Healthcare, and Vice President Choi of Naver, and we would like to have some discussion on how IT players have entered into digital healthcare and what are their future strategies. I will first give them some questions, then later we will open the floor for Q&A. So first to Mr. Hwang Hee, what was most impressive for me was the virtual care and data enabler. And he also mentioned that digital healthcare is a very comprehensive, wide-ranging, so no one can be number one in all areas. So maybe if the Kakao Healthcare selects the 3 top priorities for businesses, then what are they? That's my question. So where can we get gold medal? Is it your question? It's actually a trade secret. Let me answer that. I think we are actually in a journey to identify our priority business. So we don't really specify the conditions or certain therapeutic areas. As mentioned by VP of Naver and also Dr. Cha, digital healthcare, if you look at the overall flow of the digital healthcare, yes, there are areas where hospitals can do well. And for these areas, companies can join and to augment the services. But also there are some areas where customers, or rather hospitals, have a long way to go, and something that IT companies can do well. And in these sectors, we can create new values. So we are trying to identify the clinical conditions or diseases or the demographics that fall into this latter part. And as I said earlier in my presentation, we actually initiated with the 4 healthy behaviors, but now that has expanded to 60. And so you see that the patient profiles or the conditions, we're actually in the process of identifying the target. Of course, every patient can be our target customer, but there must be a reason that Kakao has to be involved. For example, like among the emerging startups, if we provide the excellent services already, then we don't really have to be involved in that. And also, if there are strong global service providers for that sector, then they really have to be involved. And let's say that it has a great social needs and individual burden is very significant, but if it's questionable to be a full-blown business, and therefore if the companies cannot pour resources on that because of uncertainty, then this is something that I think Kakao or Naver should be involved. And so we are actually taking and looking at diverse aspects in order to identify the right business priorities. So currently we have about 10 to 20 candidates for business priorities. So maybe before the end of this year, we'll be able to identify them. But your question is very difficult because Kakao services such as the Kakao Talk and so on, and one of the principles for our service is that we first define the problems, and then we join the area if we could solve the issues. So we will not have a very wide-ranging businesses from diagnostics to treatment because it will take a long time, and therefore we will find and select the right start areas and we'll concentrate that. So for us, that selection and picking process, I think, will be pretty lengthy.
대표님 말씀 듣고 나니까 저희
Well, thank you very much. It reminds me of the activities of KT that I described before. We should be more sharp-edged in terms of our future possibilities. I believe that there can be many questions from the floor, so if you have, please raise your hand.
없으시네요.
I see no hands up. Oh, yes, there's one. Good afternoon. My name is Choi-Yeon-soo from USIS. I'm a reporter. I have a question to Dr. Cha Dong-chul. And you talked about the Naver Care, and it was December last year, which had trademark registered at the end of last year. It was on the newspaper. And after that, the Naver has been working on the healthcare in the Naver, and that's all the thing we know. And today you have given us the highly advanced AI and also AI for doctors. So is that the part of the businesses that are done by Naver, or are you going to spin off such services into a new entity, just like in a Kakao? Well, this is quite frequent question I receive everywhere I go, so whether we are going to have the telemedicine or not. We had Line business in Japan, which had the telemedicine services. But as of now, and also for the future, for the time being and foreseeable future, we don't have any plan in Korea because it is not the scale of doing this in terms of the big model. High Clover is actually the AI specific unit for the Naver, and also we can have the Clover Care Call. That is a very small part of the services that has been taken from the bigger portion. We are not able to have that kind of big services yet. We are doing the collaboration in order to solve our challenges for the time being. We do have our doctors who are planning some of the projects, and also some of the projects are underway as I described. But this is not independent when we do. We are collaborating with High Clover.
예, 제가 질문 하나 좀 더.
I would like to ask a question to Vice President Cha.
카카오 사실은 둘 다 여러
Naver and Kakao, both of them are trying very hard to activate their ecology. They're doing a lot of investment activities and also growing the businesses as well. I know that Naver is not an exception. So out of your businesses you're doing for the future in order to grow an ecology, do you have any emphasis that you want to put priority onto this out of the future possibilities? Well, I think this can be an advertisement for a company, for a specific company, so it's very difficult to give you a good answer. Well, I do have a very good company in mind. Sometimes that works into our partnership, sometimes that doesn't work in the partnership. It might not seem to be that consistent, having said that. So we are a platform company, and if we have our services onto our platform, we have to think of the possibility of having synergy. That is the top priority. So the number one principle and philosophy is that we have to have a synergy if we have a partner coming into our system. So when we have the integration of services, how much more services or the benefits can we provide to our clients who are patients? So that's all I can say today. Thank you very much.
혹시 관련돼서 또 추가적인 궁금하신
Do you have any additional questions? Please.
간단한 질문이 원격 의료에 대한 시장에 대해서도.
So regarding the telehealth, I think that many people are interested.
원격 의료라는 것들이 소비자들,
And telehealth is to enhance convenience for patients and consumers. So it has a lot of positive side, and it's a sort of the global trend that we cannot avoid. But a lot of startups, especially those who are engaged in telehealth and those who have developed technology, so they are also making some preparation to enter into this area. And as a front runner,
시도해줄 수도 있고
maybe the Kakao or the Naver, these large companies can conduct POC and provide support to foster the small startups. So for telehealth, Mike, what's your perspective or future outlook?
개인적인 겁니다. 뭐
This is also just out of my personal curiosity.
예, 그 원격 의료에 대한 질문을 주셨고요.
So regarding
이거는 사실은
telehealth,
제일 전문가신 황희 대표님
I think
먼저
the
말씀해
CEO
주시면
Hong Hee can answer this question because he's a true expert in this field.
원격으로 너무 이제 이슈가
So telehealth has been a very controversial issue nowadays.
공식적인 자리에서
So in the official setting, when I received this kind of question, my answer could be pretty different from when I can have more frank heart-to-heart conversation. But as I said earlier, so here am in the position as the CEO of Kakao Healthcare, and I'm going to answer that in the position. As I said earlier, for areas that hospitals are already doing well, we can just leave hospitals to continue to do so. But we can target the areas where the hospitals cannot do well currently. So for telehealth, this is a part of the services that hospitals can provide, and it also has an element of the replacing hospital services. And therefore, there must be some consensus among different stakeholders in order to have and launch a telehealth service. And one of the important stakeholders is patients. After the COVID pandemic, they already experienced the necessity and convenience of telehealth. And therefore, although the pharmacists and the doctors opposed the telehealth, if the patients favor telehealth, especially after the COVID pandemic, then I think that this has become already an inevitable trend. And COVID actually brought a very big and fundamental changes in the concept of telehealth. And another important stakeholder is the hospitals and pharmacies, as well as the government. And last but not least, we also have to think about some platform service providers who try to enter into the telehealth market. So we have 5 important stakeholders, and so we have to first build a consensus among them. So this is my official comment as the CEO of Digital Kakao Healthcare. And personally, I believe I am the person who has continuously claimed as a medical doctor that we have to modify the telehealth care services and develop the telehealth services that can meet the needs of Korea's local conditions. And in fact, before joining Kakao Healthcare, I actually created telehealth services, and I actually exported that to Saudi Arabia. And so that system is even up and running even today in Saudi Arabia. And after the COVID pandemic, the non-face-to-face doctor counseling and the telehealth services have been provided to ensure patient convenience. However, we have to also think about whether we are too hasty. Because if the problem occurs, then we may have to return back to 10 or 20 years ago. This is something that I am seriously concerned about. And the government does have some idea, and the Ministry of Health and Welfare also has some idea. And their position and stance has been changed, that they will, rather than opposing telehealth blindly, I think they are now trying to take some stepwise approaches. But somehow the startups and companies are just too hasty, and they just force the government to adopt the telehealth. So as a person who still has the MD license, I do have some concerns about this too fast movement. So since I joined Kakao Healthcare, when we had some discussions on what kind of services we have to pick and develop, we thought that if there is a consensus already being built, then Kakao's technology can support the telehealth services. However, because the consensus has not been built in Korea, it's just too early and too premature for Kakao to be involved in telehealth, because then this will lead to various social issues and concerns. And therefore, we first have to have a consensus. This is the basic position of Kakao Healthcare. And before we have that clear consensus, the Kakao Healthcare will not be involved in telehealth.
Thank you, Mr. Huang. So you have been working on the EMR development and also many other service development of Kakao. So it has been the answer based on the real-world experiences. Thank you very much. Also, we can talk about more the policies, many other external factors and effects that are affecting our decision-making for the future telemedicine in Korea. So we are still very cautious because of all these things. But when we have the cloud and the big data thing, possibilities are still there. So we will continue to explore the ideas and possibilities, but we haven't made any definitive decision-making yet. So we have a still long way to go until we reach a position. For example, we have to make an ecology, we have to do something more. As a doctor, medical doctor, experiencing your companies and this business, maybe you have a different view as a person of IT like us in the IT company. So would you like to give us a comment from a very objective view as a medical doctor to see this IT business in terms of orientation? Well, if I have to give you some orientation, that isn't a big thing, too big to say as a person, but there is a precondition for this. Patients should be benefited the most, and we have to develop wherever we go a system which benefits the patients as number one, and that is the grand theme that we should not touch upon. Therefore, there should be a case where the patient should go to get the treatment. If you have been confirmed COVID-19, you must have felt you are at a loss what to do next. So then what? So we have to provide the best services to the clients using IT and AI. And also as a medical doctor, I have my concern as well. When I treat my patients, am I doing the best treatment methodologies? And am I just benefiting the patients? So I may be able to contact my patients by calling them sometimes, but sometimes I cannot. In that case, I can use some other methodologies not to cause them big anxiety to that. So another number one important principle is that we should not make it too much burdensome. So the doctors, even if they want to do some initiating things for the first time, if they feel so much burdensome, they will stop doing it. So everything should be in a gradual manner so that they are not giving too much workload. So we have to provide an information of the patients to the doctors, whether it is in the form of cloud or if it is the form of the database. The data should be able to flow so that it can benefit both the doctors and the patients. So even if it's under the framework of IT or AI, the healthcare is healthcare. It isn't changed. So the ultimate goal of healthcare is to treat the patients, and that's the essence we have to remember.
Thank you very much for the answer. So we actually had the two renowned figures in digital healthcare and had a very in-depth discussion about the future direction for digital healthcare in Korea. And that's will conclude our session. And if you do have any additional question, I think you may have to contact them individually because we have the next schedule, next session. So we will conclude the session here. Thank you very much.